That was a pun. And you missed it.
What was the pun?
I said our, not R.
Oh, funny. You're so funny. Welcome!
It was funny until you missed it.
Welcome to the Stupid Nerdcast! Today we have Zach as Raziel something, and Cleric level 20 as Juan, and Matt's
Ghost.
empty voice as Spider-Matt, and of course, the star of the show, Jordan as Stupid Nerdman. Alright. Let's go.
Okay. So as far as I know, I didn't mention it last week, but I watched the Mortal Kombat movie.
Mortal Kombat!
How was that?
So if you have HBO Max, you can watch it from home, right?
Yeah.
If you search Mortal Kombat on HBO Max, there will be like two movies that are up near the top. The new one, and one called Scorpion's Revenge. Watch Scorpion's Revenge. Do not watch the new movie, because all the good parts of of the new movie are in Scorpion's Revenge.
Really?
Yeah, because I would say that that Scorpion's Revenge is a better movie at the start, but that's not true, because they have the same opening scene. And the opening scene is literally the best part of the new Mortal Kombat.
So is it like literally like the same scenes and stuff, or is it like a different version of the same scenes? Because
it has, okay, so the scene itself, like the very first scene, is basically the same. It has almost all the same story beats, has almost all the same characters, with like a couple changes.
So,
but it doesn't. The changes don't really matter between the differences of the two movies, because they are literally the best scene in the new Mortal Kombat movie. Whereas in Scorpion's Revenge, the whole movie's okay.
So were they made by the same people or what?
No.
But it's
both,
just the same story beats and everything going on.
They're the same. Okay. So the reason why the story beats are the same at the opening is because of, is it 10 or 11? One of the more recent Mortal Kombats, they focused very heavily on Scorpion's role in the story. And like the main campaign, the main single player campaign had a lot to do with Scorpion explaining his backstory, everything of who he was. And so that's like the new take on Mortal Kombat, is to, when you open Mortal Kombat, you focus on Scorpion at the opening.
I mean, Scorpion is the main character and the best character, so...
Yeah, it's a move to... I don't know when they made this decision, but they made a decision to move away from Liu Kang and move towards Scorpion as being like the main character.
I see.
Like, Liu Kang and Johnny Cage are like the modern day like important characters, but like Scorpion's like, he's like the old hero who died and got like assassinated, and there's like a whole thing to him. But anyway, so the opening scenes in both movies are Scorpion comes home to find Sub-Zero having murdered his family.
Right, okay, so...
And he fights Sub-Zero, and he loses, and he dies, and so he goes to hell and makes a deal to come back as the Scorpion that we know.
Right. So, Scorpion's origin story, yes.
Yeah. So, when they decided that was like the main focus of Mortal Kombat, that's why those stories are the same, because the older version, or Scorpion's Revenge, is like Mortal Kombat, but they're doing it like how the new games are doing it, where they tell it from like explaining Scorpion's story.
Okay.
In Scorpion's Revenge, however, we also have all the important characters from the main cast. So we have Sonya Blade, Johnny Cage, Liu Kang, Jax and Kano also make a cameo appearance. Goro's in it. Goro's in both movies. Everybody I said is in both movies except Johnny Cage.
Oh, no Johnny Cage in the new one?
Which is
He's
one
the
of the
main
reasons the new
character.
one's really bad. The new one focuses a lot on their created character for that movie.
Who takes Johnny Cage's place?
In a lot of ways, yeah.
Ah, that's terrible.
And he's not a good character. Like, there's no reason to care about him. Like, you don't like him by the end of the movie. He's just bad.
Oh. Well, that sucks.
Yeah, he ruins, like, the whole movie. And, so the new movie, there are, like, 2 good scenes. And it's the starting scene with Scorpion and Sub-Zero, where that eventually leads to Scorpion's death.
Mm-hmm,
And there's the scene later when Scorpion gets his revenge. In Revenge of Scorpion, it has both of those scenes, but doesn't have the shitty new character. It actually has the tournament, which the new movie doesn't have. Sure, Kung Lao's not in it, but I don't know what Kung Lao adds to the new movie.
Well, we haven't watched it, so it's hard to say.
Yeah, so there's like a few characters who I did like in the new movie. Scorpion was great. I liked Kano. I liked the way that his character was portrayed. He was really weird and like goofy.
Mm-hmm.
But the main character was awful. I hated him, and it was also nice that Liu Kang wasn't like the focused character. He's just like the like extreme martial artist superhero guy, and like we just don't really focus on him. He's just there.
Right.
Sort of like how Superman's treated in the Snyder cut of the Justice League.
Right.
Because basically we all know who the fuck Liu Kang is.
Right. If you know anything about Mortal Kombat.
But yeah, so the other one, Scorpion's Revenge, has Johnny Cage as being like the he's the character, does all the self-aware of the movie shit.
Mm-hmm.
So he's like that's really dumb. Why are we doing this? This doesn't make any sense shit. Which is fine, because action movies like do that nowadays. And that's also like a decent role for Johnny Cage to be the guy who believes it's all a movie for the first half of the movie.
Right. Doesn't
He's like, the writing here is terrible.
Doesn't he believe that in like the first game or something too?
I think so. But yeah, so he gets to do stuff like that. But also, Johnny Cage is voiced by Joel McHale from the Joel McHale Show.
Oh, hang on a sec. There we go. Go.
Why did I hear myself?
Just ignore it.
Am I gonna have to edit that section out?
Yes, that's why I told you to hold on. Okay, continue.
So anyway, he's voiced by Joel McHale, which is pretty funny. Because it's also like Joel McHale's not an action hero. He's a comedian, and so it's like having a comedian voice what is basically a bizarre merger of Nicolas Cage and Jean-Claude Van Damme is an interesting take.
Who's Joel McHale again?
Joel McHale from the Joel McHale Show?
That doesn't help me, Zach.
The main guy in Community?
Oh, right. Okay.
The guy from Talk Soup?
Yeah. I know who Joel McHale is now.
Yeah. He's Johnny Cage.
That's funny.
Yeah, it's really funny. I really he does a really good Johnny Cage.
I feel like he would. Yeah. I feel like he'd be a great Johnny Cage.
The other difference between the two movies is the live action one focuses a lot on. Oh yeah, Scorpion's Revenge. I didn't mention this at the start. Scorpion's Revenge is completely animated.
Okay.
And the animation is really good.
Okay. That clears up a lot of my confusion about whether they were like the same movie or not.
Yeah, I forgot to mention that part. Also, however it does do the stupid nod to the game thing. So in the new movie, the nods to the game are like the really stupid shit. Like he goes like fatality and shit like that. Like it pisses me off. In the Scorpion's Revenge, the nods to the game are the stupid slow motion X-ray shit.
Oh, like
and it does it like every single time someone dies or gets seriously injured. It just like slows down and X-rays them. It's like really funny.
So it does the full, what's it called, the EX skill thing?
Yeah. Every single time. It's ridiculous. So like you see scorpions like over there to the side, and you're like, okay, get ready for the action to start, and immediately stop for us to watch Scorpion's spear go through 6 guys' heads or whatever in slow motion.
Well, you gotta.
I mean, that's the best part. I don't know why anyone would complain.
Like, it's really good animation too, which I think is what brings up the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
They do like some like what do you call it? Where they like completely change the animation style in a few scenes, like when Scorpion's like really mad in like the opening segment, and like the whole screen goes red and shit, and he becomes just like a bunch of streaks instead of a character anymore. Yeah, it's got some really good shots in it. It's yeah, I really enjoyed it. It's very gory though, so be ready for that.
It's Mortal Kombat.
Yeah. So it's good. It's pretty gory, and it focuses a lot on Scorpion, and as compared to like the new movie where it's like we touch on Scorpion at the start, we touch on Scorpion in the middle, and you basically forget him for the rest of the movie.
Right.
Or near the end, I guess. Which kind of sucks. I like the other one focusing on Scorpion. It also does the other one has the reveal. I don't know if you know this, but it does happen this way. I'm pretty sure in the Mortal Kombat games is that Sub-Zero kills Scorpion's family. Scorpion vows revenge and dies. He meets Quan Chi or whatever in hell, and Quan Chi is the one who like brings him back to life and has him fight for Netherrealm in Mortal Kombat.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm pretty sure it's revealed in the games that Quan Chi was pretending to be Sub-Zero during that fight, and Sub-Zero didn't do anything. And that Scorpion eventually gets revenge on Quan Chi for that and stuff. So it's like in the Scorpion's Revenge, it has that whole plot line, whereas the new movie does not. It just basically pretends that it was Sub-Zero who did all of that, and then Scorpion murders him.
Right.
And he murders Quan Chi the same way in his movie, which is like he pulls off his skull and breathes fire down his face.
Right.
Like they both have like the scenes that you need to have in it. Like Scorpion pulls off his face in like both of them and breathes fire. Scorpion and Sub-Zero fight. And Goro is in it.
Goro is in it.
Politics.
Yeah.
Yeah. In Scorpion's Revenge, he plays a much bigger, like, impressive role because he like rips off Jax's arms, and then someone else has to fight him later. And they don't seem to be standing any more of a chance against him than Jax did. But in the new movie, he fights the main guy just like he fights Johnny Cage in the old Mortal Kombat movie. The old Mortal Kombat movie is actually a better movie than the new one. Which I kind of hate to say, but it's true.
Huh.
If we took the Scorpion scenes from the new Mortal Kombat movie and somehow managed to add them to the old Mortal Kombat movie and remove every bit of Scorpion from that movie, I think we would have had a much better movie, actually. If we just, like, cut them all apart and put them back together in a very weird Frankenstein way.
I haven't seen the old Mortal Kombat in a very long time, so I don't remember shit.
Neither have I, but I remember, like, parts of it. I remember Johnny Cage was awful, but he wasn't, like, awful.
Uh-huh.
If that makes sense. Like his character was pretty awful, but, like, watching him on camera wasn't awful.
Right.
You know, I think I'm just kind of sick of, like, these Hollywood producers just, like, haphazardly getting their hands on, like, a video game script and being like, yeah, I can definitely make a good serviceable movie out of this. Like, the Monster Hunter movie was fucking stupid. I'm sure the Borderlands movie is gonna be a flop. Like,
there's gonna be a Borderlands movie?
Yes, and you know they cast Kevin Hart as Roland. That is awful. That is just awful.
Who's Roland again?
No, dude.
But Jack Black as Claptrap, so I mean...
I don't know who you would... Like, Kevin Hart, I don't feel like would be Roland. You'd probably... Why don't you put Kevin Hart's best friend in every movie, Dwayne Johnson, as Roland?
Dwayne Johnson would be a better Roland than Kevin Hart would be. And that's
exactly.
Dwayne Johnson's a god-awful actor.
But who was Roland? Who's Roland?
He's like the main guy from Borderlands.
From the first game?
So okay. Borderlands 2, he's like the guy in charge of everything.
Right, okay.
Yeah. Of the Resistance or whatever, the guys you actually are like trying to join.
Right, yeah.
He's like a very serious, very stern character, and Kevin Hart is none of that.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, but we're also talking about a game with like fucking mechanics of you reload this gun by throwing it at people.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like,
how are they gonna make that a movie?
I don't know.
So many clashing personalities. Like, I already know they're gonna try to ham-fist cell shading into it.
Well, it's just them turning it into like just the story points takes out most of the enjoyment of the game, because the game's not about the story. Yeah, the story's not very good. So it's more about like the mechanics and the fun and the grinding and them dropping big guns. That's what you want. Unless you're playing the what's her name? That DLC from Borderlands 2 where you get to fight dragons and shit. And wizards.
Oh, yeah.
That's the only good story.
The D&D dungeon. Yeah, you get the shotgun that fires swords.
Sword explosion! Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, you can't turn that into a movie. You really can't.
Not really, no.
The two of them would be the best DMs in any game. Yeah, no, that was fucking good. There's a lot of stupid shit. Like, the parts with the story in Borderlands 2 were good, were parts where because you were the character, because you were playing it, not because the story was good.
Yeah.
Like the part in Borderlands 2 where you disguise yourself as Jack, is that his name?
Yeah, Handsome Jack.
Yeah, Handsome Jack. You disguise yourself as Handsome Jack, and then you like do all your lines, but it's the Handsome Jack voice actor trying to do them.
Like, Borderlands 1 was, like, very light. They're like, we have a general idea for, like, what this game's about. Like, they didn't really think they're going to go very far with it. Then Borderlands 2, they really try to, like, pick up the story and go somewhere with it. And I feel like in Borderlands 2, they did pretty well. I really liked Handsome Jack as a villain. Like, he's not, like, the deep, most, like, methodical villain in the world, but he was fucking hilarious the whole way, which is what the game's going for, so I could appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Borderlands 3, however, is where they just completely fucking threw the story out the fucking window. They're like, yeah, we're just gonna go with memes. Like,
yeah.
Which one's the other one? The pre-sequel or whatever?
Yeah,
we
the
don't
pre-sequel.
talk about pre-sequel.
That's 1.5.
The pre-sequel, like, oh my god, the fact that ties into the best Borderlands game ever is why it's so weird. Best Borderlands game ever, by the way, is Tales of the Borderlands. Which, if you've not played it, it is really good.
I watched like a Reader's Digest because I just cannot stand Telltale games. Like, I'd rather just watch a movie than play a movie.
Right.
Yeah. The like fucking gunfight scene in fucking Helios or whatever HQ. Oh my god. Cool. The whole fucking game is like hilarious. I don't know how they made it so funny. But yeah, that is like how you tell a Borderlands story in a completely different game. The game was so funny. What's his name was in it, wasn't it? He played the guy that you're impersonating in that scene, Patrick Warburton. Oh my god, that's such a good game. Anyway, so yeah, also fuck Telltale sometimes because I think that they also are like not a good company, but I don't know. This is a thing I remember hearing like 20 years ago, but I'm not sure is accurate.
Or Sam and Max.
The first Telltale game I really tried was like their very first Walking Dead one, and I was like, alright, this is like kind of cool, but at the same time, I'm like, it's just all fucking QTEs, and like, who the fuck likes QTEs?
Yeah, because they came from. They are a. Before they did The Walking Dead, they were an adventure game company. So the Walking Dead is an adventure game with QTEs to supplement the needed action scene. Like, that's what it is. But it's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely not everyone's cup of tea.
Yeah, like Sam & Max is like its own thing. Like, there's fucking Sam & Max. That is adventure and a half.
Yeah, Sam & Max is great.
Like, where they got the funding to like eventually get the kind of deal that they could do to make Walking Dead is based off Sam & Max and the popularity of a very specific episode called Abe Lincoln Must Die. In which Sam & Max decapitate the president,
Nice.
who turned out to be a doll hypnotizing people. And then one of them had to run for president against an animated statue of Abraham Lincoln.
Yeah, that sounds what I remember, yeah.
Just a regular Tuesday.
Yeah. For me, it was Tuesday.
Dude, that actor did not belong in that movie. He is so good.
You mean,
Bison from the Street Fighter movie? That's what I'm talking about.
yeah,
That's where that line's from.
Yeah, I know. Thank you. I'm the one that said the line, asshole.
I know. It's like, what was it? It was about his, like, grandchild or something?
No, he was talking to Chun-Li.
No, the actor. The reason he was in that movie.
I don't know. I don't know.
But, like, the reason he's in that movie was because, like, one of his, it was like his grandson or his son or something. Somebody was like this huge fan of Street Fighter, and he agreed to do the movie because they were such a fan of it.
I do not know. I don't know the story.
Like, that's like the whole reason he's even in the movie, and you're like he carries the whole movie, which is ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's a bad movie, but
yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty funny. So yeah, the don't watch the new Mortal Kombat movie. Just watch Scorpion's Revenge. It's way better. If you can watch one, you can probably watch the other because they're both on HBO Max.
Yeah, probably. Okay.
Okay, one other thing I want to talk about before we get into RPs. Did either of you watch my little tiny Dota clip that I posted?
Yeah, I watched it. I don't know why I watched it, but I watched it.
Did you watch it, Juan?
You know, I looked at it, but I don't really know what I'm looking at. You know, it's one of those things.
Did you watch it?
Yeah, like it's like when you look at like some new like type of game or something, you're not really gonna understand.
Yeah. Okay, so I wanted to give a little preface. I'm probably gonna have it either playing right now or after I say this little preface part in the edited version of the podcast. So what is happening here, which is why it's so funny to me and why it makes me feel bad about, like, I'm too nice a player. Because what is happening in that clip is that guy is super out of position, and I know it from the start. And I just let him hit me like 3 times. Just letting him know I could kill him at any point. I knew that the whole time. Before the clip even starts, understand that I could have killed this guy at any point.
Okay.
And I was well aware of that. And he was not. So I like shot him once. Like, you can even see it if you watch the clip. It's like I shoot him once, and then like I go back to last hitting, and then and like he keeps like hitting me, and I'm like, go away, because that was like what the one shot was. It was like, go away. I know how much difference our damage is right now. There's no way for you to beat me. Go away. And he like basically the clip plays out. He dies. And for the rest of the game, him and the guy that is in the background that you kind of see for like a split second are arguing back and forth about who threw the game more. And I'm like, no, it's your support 100%. I was there. I killed him.
Uh-huh.
Like, Why was I so nice to him? I should have just fucking killed him right as soon as you got that far out of position. He's so far out of position.
I feel like that's what anyone else would have done. I don't know why you wouldn't have just killed him.
He's almost on my side of the map. I don't even know why he's there.
Well, when I watched you guys were on the bridge, weren't you?
Yeah, we're on my side. Like, we're so far away from the creep wave.
Yeah.
That, like, there's no way I could just attack him and his creeps aren't going to do anything because he's so far away.
Mm-hmm. And then he tries to run away in the bushes and you just snipe him.
Yeah, and it's just like, I don't understand. Why were you here? Why were you in this far out of position? Why were you here? Why didn't you go away when I first showed you that you didn't stand a chance against me? Oh my god.
Maybe he was one of those rogues in World of Warcraft back in the old days who would just stealth in Darkshore or whatever, and then watch as a random person would go AFK and then try to attack them and almost get them down, and then by the time they get back to their computer they just full heal themselves and murder the rogue in an instant. Maybe it was one of those characters.
Jordan, those are probably the people you would be playing if you were playing Dota solo. The people who stand right next to you and punch you in the face as a ranged hero?
I mean, to be completely honest, that would probably be me.
No. No. We're not going to pretend that you are that close to somebody as a ranged hero. He is right in my face.
Oh, he was a ranged hero?
The entire clip. Yes, he's a ranged hero too.
Oh. Yeah. Then yeah, he's not very smart.
He's in my face like the whole clip. It's like, what are you doing?
I at least know as a ranged hero to try to keep like max distance from people most of the time.
Oh my god, it's so dumb. He's so out of position, and I'm just like, hey, just go away. Just go away, please. I'm too nice to my enemies. I should, but he clearly was not good enough in the game, though.
Huh.
I don't know how he was in that game. He clearly wasn't being brought by the anti-mage because the anti-mage is the one who was bitching at him all game. So I was hoping that he was with the anti-mage because the anti-mage didn't jump in and help him at any point, but he was smart.
Well, the anti-mage was clearly not trying to help him learn the game. He was just being toxic.
Yeah,
so I
that's
hope
what I
it
mean.
wasn't
like, he wasn't trying to help him learn the game. So it's like, what are you doing here? You probably shouldn't have the MMR to fight me. Like, you shouldn't be in my bracket at all. If this has ever worked for you in a game, you should not be against me. Like, there's just a mountain of skill difference between that. That is like, I just started Dota 2 and I don't know what I'm doing playing the game.
Which is possible. You might have bought that account. You never know.
That's possible. This is very possible. That could have been an account buyer back from 2014. Fuck. Holy shit. Every bit about that scene bugs my head. Anyway, so we want to talk about pen and paper RPGs for a bit?
Yeah, sounds good to me. I mean, considering that's what my fucking name is.
True. Okay.
So, I know naturally you guys are more into the Warhammer side of things, whereas I would lean more Dungeons and Dragons and its spin-offs. So I don't know a whole lot about how the Warhammer version of the tabletops really play out. I know it's more like percentage, and you guys actually use a D100, a lot more than anything else. But
it's like when you roll D100, your stat would be a certain number, and you have to roll under whatever your stat is to be able to hit, type deal. At least that's how Dark Heresy was. I don't know. I don't remember the other one. We played the Fantasy Warhammer once, and we only went through 4 sessions, and it was all through, what is it, D20 or whatever, or Fantasy Grounds. It was through Fantasy Grounds, and one of the people we were playing with just was metagaming to shit and made it very unfun to play. Until my brother Jeremy, not Zach, trolled the shit out of him, and then he died.
That's what you gotta do.
Yeah.
Especially if you're a dungeon master. Like,
he essentially quit playing with us. And the game got a little funner, but we only played like 2 more sessions after that. Because we were short on people now.
For a bit of reference, that same guy played in a Blood Bowl league against me, Blood Bowl being football but Warhammer.
yeah.
And I think I killed 2 of his players, and he asked Jeremy if he could re-roll his whole team.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
He's fun. He's a fun guy to play with. Well, apparently, my brother said he's usually fun, but when he gets drunk or something, or when he gets, like, metagamey, he just no one wants to play with him type deal.
Like, I know there's a fine line between, wanting to, like, make your character good versus, like, being, like, a meta or power gaming asshole.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you really gotta learn how to walk that line there.
Right, yeah.
I also know one key distinction between, like, the 2 different settings is Warhammer is almost, like, comically gritty. Like, it's just, like, needlessly easy to die.
Yeah. Like, I think I told you back when we worked together at a place that I'm not going to say, about how, like, I was a halfling and I got my foot cleaved off.
Yeah.
That was from a single round. 1 round. I had full health and then no foot and I'm gone the rest of the game.
And that's like a supported rule set for, like, dismemberment, or...
No, he crit hit me. No, that's not what happened. I attacked him, and I did a critical failure, and then he retaliated against me, and he critted and cleaved my foot off.
When you roll dice in Warhammer, you sometimes wind up rolling like 30 dice. Because you roll dice, and it's like, this one you suffer an injury. And then you roll that dice, and it's like, this one's also like a critical injury. And then you roll dice again, and then it's like, this one you died.
Yeah, pretty much.
And
yeah.
You're like, fuck.
Yeah.
Like instant death is literally always on the table anytime you roll dice in Warhammer.
It's like the first dice was that I missed, the second dice was him hitting me, third dice was where he hit me, fourth dice was how bad he hit me, and the fifth dice was exactly what he did.
So that makes it sound like combat might be, like, pretty slow then.
It does take a little bit of time, but, like, if you just look at the dice thing, you see what's going on. I think I added a couple extra rolls in there, because I think actually the damage roll, that where he hits me, actually also decides where he hits me. If he hits me, also decides where he hits me, I mean.
Well, a good example of how stupid sometimes Warhammer rolls can get. So, anytime you cast a spell, period, in Warhammer. This was the 40k game I played, not the fantasy. I didn't play any fantasy with them. You would roll dice to see whether or not you met the threshold and cast the spell successfully. And I think that there's, I think it's like double numbers or something, or double ones. I don't remember what it is.
It was
like
double
something
numbers.
That you roll.
It was double numbers.
And if you roll it, you are guaranteed like a weird thing happen. And then you roll on the weird thing happening. And then if you roll past like a 90 on the weird thing happening, like a really weird thing happens. And if you roll past the 90 on the really weird thing happens, your character bleeps out of existence and you have to start over.
Like, what the fuck and why?
Because if you roll dice. Like between like 80 and 90, I think, is like you get possessed by a demon. And your soul gets eaten, and you die anyway. And then, like,
but in that case, the rest of the party has to fight you.
Yeah. It becomes like so fucking stupid.
There's a lot of corruption-based stuff in Warhammer, both fantasy and Dark Heresy, which is the 40k one that Zach's talking about. There's a lot of corruption-based things where you could easily get like possessed by a dark god, and well, not a dark god specifically, but like a an echo of a dark god or whatever, and just your whole party starts attacking you and you no longer have control of your character.
Yeah, the whole Warhammer universe is meant to feel like everything is scary.
Mm-hmm.
And everything does feel scary. But there's also like supposed to be like a good balance. Like the way that you're supposed to balance Dark Heresy or I don't know about Rogue Trader or Space Marine. I think that they are can be a bit more combat focused, but Dark Heresy is meant to be played like 80 to 90% story and maybe 10% combat. And if you are playing it differently, which is how we were playing it, it becomes really hard. You basically can't play it like D&D. You basically have to play to where maybe you go 5 sessions without a combat encounter at all.
Yeah, like your jobs and stuff are supposed to be like what your background is and what you're good at. It's like all farming and like infrastructure stuff, cataclysm. I don't know what I'm trying to say. But it's like all like building and stuff like that, like professions, not actually combat.
Yeah, and that leads to knowledge that you would have in conversations and how you would advance the story that way. The main way the game is meant to be played is with very little combat, because combat is meant to be very deadly and very scary.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, which is like, it has its pros and cons. It means that your DM has to like understand that and design the campaign that way, and B, your players have to be willing to accept that that's how the game has to be played.
Yeah. You can't just go in expecting it to be like D&D. You have to understand that that's not the kind of game it is.
Yeah. It's like, it's like a little goblin runs at you and he kind of has magic, and it's like, I don't want to fight that goblin because he's going to cast a spell and then he's going to transform into like a greater demon somehow on accident, and he's going to destroy my whole team.
Yeah. That could actually happen.
Like, fuck no.
Whereas, like, the other side of the coin, it's like, hey, there's 5 of us and there's 12 goblins. Let's do this.
Yeah,
right.
Let's just stomp on them for like 10 minutes. I had a couple games in D&D where I was playing like the tank guy, and here's
Do
the
you know
thing.
what edition you were playing, first of all?
4.
There. Oh.
4. I was playing 4.
Oh. I'm sorry.
Here's the thing I have to say about people playing D&D when 4 came out. Fuck everybody who just harps on about fucking 3.5 for 30 years. Like, fucking, don't be so fucking gatekeeping. Just because 4 is a bit easier to get into than 3.5, accept that and worry about teaching them 3.5 later down the line. If you prefer 3.5.
You're making Juan have a big sad face right now.
Only kind of.
I mean,
where he's
like,
coming from.
you know what I mean? Like, the problem was everybody I talked to about D&D was like, don't play 4, play 3.5. And I'm like, I don't own 60 fucking books. I don't know what 3.5 is to you.
That's fair.
Yeah.
And then, like, also on top of that, half of them have their own book of house rules that you also have to have. And it's like, fuck off, I don't want all this. I want my one fucking book, or like 3 fucking books that I have for 4.0. Teach me how to play this game. Make me enjoy the parts of it that are going to carry over into the other more complex game first. Then, if I enjoy it enough, we can move on to that. Otherwise, fuck off.
So 90% of my experience lies in Pathfinder, which is basically a 3.5 spin-off, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I'm not talking about Pathfinder specifically. If any of them brought up Pathfinder, I was okay with that. I was specifically talking about 3.5 and them being fucking locked into 3.5 is the best D&D ever, and refusing to even acknowledge that Pathfinder's a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. What really threw people off about 4th edition is just like all the utility and like RP capabilities that 3.5 had were basically gutted in 4th edition. And like the 4th edition just kind of played like a video game rather than like a tabletop. So that's where a lot of people had their gripes.
Yeah, it did kind of feel like World of Warcraft D&D.
and there was a few changes to it where you can see why these changes were made. Like, it's like, oh, this one wants them, or this, like, because they built in, like, kind of tanking mechanics into 4.0 that, like, weren't really there in 3.5. And there's a reason they did that, and it's because, yeah, sure, a lot of your games, you probably played, like, you were the tank or whatever, and the DM acknowledged that and then sent the guy, like, at you. But how often do you think that there were those games where the DM's like, no, fuck you, I'm just gonna kill this fucking cleric?
All the time. I do that all the time.
and that drives people to instead build clerics who are like multi-class with like fucking fighter or whatever and have like 80 bajillion armor.
Yeah. So that's one thing I really appreciated about, like, you know, Pathfinder versus, like, you know, 3.5, that kind of setting. The game can really be as complicated or as simple as you want it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The problem is 3.5 forced people to... 3.5 felt like, from all the experiences that I have, felt like the people who really harp on that 3.5 is the best version of D&D are DMs and players who fucking hate each other.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
And they love playing 3.5 together because they love coming up with new ways to fuck each other over.
Yeah. That sounds exactly like every experience I've had.
The main reason why so many of them hated 4.0 was because in 4.0 they had to actually try and play the game and not try to play their weird metagame that they created on top of it. Which is sure.
A fair point.
Sure, if that's what you like about D&D, sure, you can have that and you can stick with your 3.5. The problem is, some people aren't going to fucking like that. It's just like some people want an easy mode in Dark Souls because they want to play Dark Souls, but they don't want to fucking spend 80 hours learning how to play the game.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I believe people should have an easy mode in Dark Souls. I don't give a shit. It's a single player game.
Yeah,
and definitely over the years, both Dungeons and Dragons or I guess both Wizards of the Coast and Paizo have gone like that route where like they're just trying to like find ways to streamline the rules, to simplify things.
Yeah.
5th edition took it like a bit too far in my opinion. Like every single class feels the same in that one. That's why I'm not a huge 5th edition fan. Whereas like Pathfinder still managed to kind of keep things where like each class feels different. They all have strengths and weaknesses. Like you can kind of find that if there's like a particular niche you really want to play, there's options for you. But if you just want to be a human fighter with a great sword, it's still a great fucking class.
Like
I didn't even know there was a 5th edition.
Some of my problems with that was kind of some of my problems with 4th too, was because a lot of the tank classes felt very similar to each other. There were like differences, but they were very similar.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, so when we were playing 4th edition, back to the actual story that I was trying to tell.
Oh yeah.
We were playing 4th edition, and the other guys we were playing with are the guys who harp on about 3.5 for like fucking ever. And these guys actually do like fucking. That is how they play 3.5. They fucking their DMs and them. And when they are DM and the other guys are the players, all try to fucking fuck each other over as hard as possible in 3.5.
Just both sides are min-max power gaming?
Yeah. They do that. That's how they play. And it's fucking garbage. But anyway, so we were playing 4th, and there was this part where I'm like fighting some giant like stone golem or something, and it's fucking like destroying me, just like slamming me into the ground like 30 times. And I'm like, I don't give a shit. I'm the fucking tank, right? It's like it can be fucking destroying me, but I can take these hits, A, and B, like I'm not gonna die from this. And like the whole time they're sitting there like, man, you wish you could have like that kind of damage or be able to do anything here. And I'm like, he's not fucking killing you, you goddamn mage. What do you think's happening here? Just kill it before it kills me. Treat it like a fucking WoW raid of a tank and spank boss.
Yeah, it's like there's a reason there's rolls. Let's fucking do the rolls.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, like the rolls in 4th like felt a bit weird. I mean, it's nice that some of the classes tried to mix roles that you wouldn't really think would mix together. Like tried to be a bit more experimental with that, but I don't know. Maybe like the really late 4th edition is kind of fun, but I don't know. But yeah, because I played for a while I played like Avenger, which is like the holy damage class. But it also has like a bunch of control moves. Like its whole thing is about like manipulating where the monster is on the field.
Okay.
And so yeah, it was kind of weird to like have that kind of combination to be like a you're basically like a finesse melee combat class is kind of how it was played.
Right, because
it was about manipulating the monster around the board, and
because 4th edition had like a full grid system, unlike like 3.5 and stuff where it's all in feet and shit.
Yeah.
4th edition had like an actual grid where we actually mapped out where everything was.
Yeah, and we had a bunch of the little boards and a couple figures for everybody.
Yeah. I don't even remember.
I'd also say for that part of 4th edition, that can feel easier to get into. Is like
I actually like
having a board to look at and having a bunch of figures on it, so you know who's who and where people are.
I very much like having a grid system for it, so I actually can see what's going on rather than just saying he's 3 feet away. What do you do? Type deal. You know. You can actually see where it is.
Because I know with Pathfinder, everything was still in feet, but like you still played on a grid, and like each square was just 5 feet. So like if your fireball had a 20-foot radius, you're like, okay, it hits a 4x4 area. Like, man.
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah, I think visualizing the game helped a lot to get people to play it.
Because then it actually feels more like a game rather than like you just kind of sit around talking about it.
Yeah. And it also helps because I mean, it's only like recently that some people have come to terms with the reality that not everybody can imagine as well as everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely.
And so like having an option like a version of D&D where it's basically like little figures moving around on a grid, like they can really understand that versus trying to imagine where everything is in their head.
Trust me, I've DM'd for so many different people over the years. Like, I think that's one of the hardest parts is you really have to understand that people are going to enjoy the game in a plethora of different ways.
Yeah.
You're going to have the fucking combat goons that just want to like kill shit and get loot. You're going to have the RP sluts that want to sit there and, talk for hours and hours with you. You're going to have people that just want to go and do the most random shit or want to see bewildering sights. And it's like, yeah, you just got to learn how to cater to them all.
Yeah, and you're going to have that guy that's a ranger with a big blue bear who wears a strap-on.
Yep, I've had a few of those. You just kill them quick and usually they leave.
Well, that was actually one of my best friends, so I didn't want that to happen. I was actually trying to get him to play.
I'm all for like people wanting to make like a silly character, but if your character is like a straight up like meme that's disrupting everyone else's like good time.
Well, the thing is, he actually played the game, but every time combat happened, at the end when he murdered things, his bear would be a necrophiliac. Yes.
Fornicate with the bodies. That's all you have to say. It's the easiest way to say it where it doesn't feel it was dirty.
Okay.
But why?
I don't remember why. It was his first RP. So he was just fucking around.
There was a time where we RP'd with a guy in 4th edition who played what's the race? It's like Deva or something, and he was like made him blue, and his whole thing was about that he would walk around naked.
Yeah, like Dr. Manhattan. Yeah.
Yeah. Because his whole thing was that my brother didn't hate the Watchmen movie. So, because he didn't hate the Watchmen movie, that means clearly he likes Dr. Manhattan swinging dongs. So.
Yeah, that's what he did.
And I'm like, that's not how logic works, but.
You don't like a movie or dislike a movie based on one thing. And even if there's something that you're uncomfortable with, it doesn't make the movie a bad movie.
Were you there, Jordan, when we played Shadowrun that one time, and I was the weird magician man?
Shadowrun.
I don't remember. That might have been the one I was left out of. Bar might have been that.
I was a magician, right, who used illusion, and his whole thing was that he had no idea that any of his Shadowruns wasn't a film set.
That sounds fun.
So it was like Johnny Cage.
Yeah. There was like a time where I think I get pulled over by the DM, and he gets like kidnapped by mafia, and they're like trying to have a conversation with him, and he treats it like it's the film crew grabbing him for a second to give him an update to the script. There was a time they said he had to burn his apartment because it was marked, and he like literally lit his apartment on fire and jumped out the window. Man, that was a game. It was a weird ass experience for everybody.
Yeah, I don't think I was a part of that. I don't remember any of that.
Shadowrun's a trip of a setting to play in.
Yeah.
And it really depends on your fucking GM, just what kind of shit you're going to be doing, you know? You could have the one guy that's just like super into the whole cyberpunk thing. He just wants to have cool gunfights. Or you could have the one guy that's maybe a little too into like the pervy aspect of the game. And next thing you know, you're always in a strip club or something.
Well, isn't that the good ending?
And then
it really depends on the audience.
and then you have like you can have like the where he's got like this whole crazy gang warfare setup that he's got like all planned, and then the players just constantly try to derail it and do random shit.
Man, that's why I never plan too far ahead. You never know what players are gonna do.
Yeah. My brother, when he DMs, he usually plans like each scenario one by one. Like he starts a storyline that he wants, and then depending on where we go, he can alter it a little bit to make it go in a different direction if we're going in a different direction, or something like that. But he has like the base storyline he wants, where whatever we do will still kind of lead to what he wanted it to lead to, you know?
Kind of have to.
Yeah, well, you know what I mean, though.
Yeah.
It'll be stuff like, you know, your cool older brother with fire powers dies, and then randomly you get a new cool older brother with blonde hair and fire powers. It's a One Piece reference for everybody who's never watched that anime.
Didn't get it. Never watched it. Well, I can't say I never watched it. I think I watched like the first couple episodes when it first like came to an anime. But...
fucking when it first came over, fuck One Piece. One Piece is like really good, but it suffers from we didn't get a good translation for it forever. B, the manga is like a bajillion times better than the anime could ever dream of being, outside of a handful of scenes. And C, 4 kids.
I mean, I think you forgot point D, where there's like 5 million fucking episodes or some shit.
It's really long. Yeah.
It's 1,000. It has 1,011 chapters currently. I know people say that's really long, but I'm like, if you've read Game of Thrones, you have time to read One Piece. Get the fuck over yourself.
Who's read Game of Thrones? There's a show.
Oh my god, don't bring up that garbage.
I'm just saying, why read it when you can watch it?
No. Why read it when you can watch your fucking dreams destroyed at the end? Why watch a good show for like 2 seasons or 3 seasons before it just fucking dive bombs off a cliff? But I was listening to a guy the other day who was like, I can't ever watch Game of Thrones again because even the episodes I like, I know where it's heading and it's not good.
Yeah, there's been a few series, like I gone back and I watched it, but like from hearing about that, like if you know a show has just like a shit ending, I feel like it would completely sour your taste for the rest of the show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've never rewatched a single episode of Battlestar Galactica for that same reason.
Yeah.
I thought the show was fine most of the show, and then like the last episode is so fucking dog shit, it like made me throw up in my mouth.
What was it like? Everyone. It turned out that Starbuck and the crazy guy were both angels or some shit.
Really, it's so fucking metaphysical bullshit at the fucking end. It's such an ex machina fuck you ending. I fucking hate it.
Yeah.
It's so gross. It's like takes away all the joy you had of watching the show. Like, ugh.
Yeah. I never liked it in the beginning, so I couldn't.
It's like when I try to explain to people that Sherlock is garbage, and they're like, "But I liked it." It's like it's still trash.
Well, here's the thing about Battlestar Galactica. I did not like the show at all, one bit at all, nowhere near it. But the board game is pretty fun.
Yeah, the board game's great.
It's great.
I fucking love the board game. Board game's fun.
I love board games. Board games are so fun. I one day I want to set up like us playing a board game as a stream or something. Just stream us playing board games all day. That'd be fun.
You need like 4 cameras though. That's why you like need an office and shit for it, really.
I see.
You need a camera that's like looking straight down at the board. You need a camera that gets like each of the different people's faces. Like it's miserable.
Just so it doesn't get glossed over, and to trigger all the fucking super hoolocks that might watch this, yes, Sherlock is a shit show.
Okay.
just gotta make sure that's touched on.
It's so garbage. People don't. Oh my god! If I had to explain this, if you watched Sherlock and you thought you liked it, rewatch it again. Very specific episode. It's like the episode with Irene Adler. And come to an explanation of how the fuck she knows anything in any of those scenes.
Exactly.
There's no explanation at fucking all as to how she knows anything.
Like, whenever they are drawing, like, Sherlock's big conclusions in almost any episode, it's like, oh, she had a lipstick stain on the cigarette that was 3 degrees to the right, so that means she's clearly a fucking terrorist. Like, what?
Hold on. That's not how it happens in Sherlock. How it happens in Sherlock is he walks up and slams a giant manila folder and it's like, this is all the shit that happened off screen that let me figure it out. And you're like, the fuck? The whole thing about Sherlock Holmes is that it's set up the whole time what was happening. Like, fucking, come on. The whole... Ugh.
And it sucks because I like Benedict Cumberbatch.
Yeah.
But...
I like what's his name? The other guy.
The one guy was Watson.
Is it Tom Freeman? Martin Freeman.
Martin Freeman. I love Martin Freeman. I think he's great, but I do not like that show.
Good cast, but shit writing.
Oh my god.
Well, it was written by the guy who wrote, which either is the best or the worst seasons of Doctor Who, depending on who you ask.
Oh my god, yeah, that's right. Fuck.
Stephen Moffat.
He wrote a whole episode of Doctor Who that was about the fact that he was trying to get out of the shadow of the guy who wrote Doctor Who before him.
Because...
And he's like, yeah, maybe because he was better at it than you are.
Yeah, he was. He was.
And if it's any
better.
surprise, he also wrote the fucking drag-on shit show that is Supernatural.
Did he?
Yep.
What? I thought what's his name writes it? Like Bryan Singer or something.
He might have been like the sole writer, but he had something to do with it. He was either like one of the assistant writers, or he like wrote for a few seasons. But either way, he was responsible for that show's downfall too.
Yeah, he released a fucking Netflix Dracula show, and I watched like 4 minutes of it before at first I was like, I don't know why I'm gonna press play on this, but I'm gonna do it. And then I watched like 4 minutes of it, and I closed it and pretended like I never saw those 4 minutes ever again.
There you go.
It was so bad. So unbelievably bad. Oh my god, he ruins everything he touches.
Mm-hmm.
I hate Sherlock so much.
How do you spell Moffat? I'm sorry, we're not saying his name, my bad.
Anyway, if you like Sherlock Holmes at all, I'm sorry, but those fucking Robert Downey Jr. movies are so much better.
So much better. like
they have everything's there for you to figure it out before anything happens. Like every single thing, every little clue, everything. You could know stuff from Sherlock Holmes that like will help you figure shit out. Like what was it? Like I think when he sees Moriarty and he's like in the car or something in like the first one, but he's like not revealed yet because they haven't like picked an actor for him or anything. And there's like him in the car. You can like know that's Moriarty because like he has like a chalk stain like on his sleeve or something to show that he was like a professor at school. Like and like they call him James or something. Like everything's there for you to like figure it out. You know everything from like every single. Oh god, it was such a good movie.
And you know how fucking cool the fight scenes are too.
Yeah,
Touch on that.
like somebody was like, "Aren't you mad at the way they treated Sherlock for those movies?" And I'm like, "What are you talking about? He's a fucking like druggie who fights people in basements. Like that's what Sherlock Holmes does." Like I know people seem to have forgotten all that about him, but he does a lot of drugs, and he definitely fought people in fight clubs.
Wasn't like most of the books about like, well, not most of the books specifically, but wasn't Watson always giving him shit about always smoking cocaine, snorting cocaine?
No, he injects it directly into his veins.
Oh right, injecting cocaine.
It's I think it's a 7% solution or something. It's like the name of one of the stories. He like injects it straight into his veins.
Yeah. Like all the books are written from Watson's perspective or something like that.
Almost all of them. There's a handful written by Sherlock himself, and a couple are written from third person. I think one of the ones written by third person is also identical to one of the ones written from Watson's perspective, so it's like, why did you, whatever. I can kind of remember it. It's like one's like the Blue Carbuncle, and the other one is like fuck. None of you are like a good plate of knowledge character or person, huh? Mazarin's Gem, I think it is Mazarin. He's the prime minister of France, who everybody fucking hated. Anyway, I know too much about French history.
Yeah. Wow.
Anyway, because I read the D'Artagnan romance, and he's like a huge character in it for a little bit.
Okay.
What was I saying? Anyway, there's like the two characters. The stories are basically the same. They're about trying to get a gem, and basically it plays out identically, but they're done from like different perspectives. So clearly, I guess he was unhappy with one of the ways he did that story, and he rewrote it. Or he forgot that he wrote it, and he just rewrote it again and changed some of the details. I think he's opened the story a couple times, where like it's Watson like feeling his knee and remembering the American Civil War, and then being annoyed that the Americans would fight over something so small, or something like it wasn't something so small. It was that they were fighting each other. Like, how could you sit here as a country and be like so divided against your own countrymen? It was like why he got annoyed. In case everybody got confused with the way I did that, the way I described that, Watson fights in Afghanistan in basically every version. But his war injury annoys him when he thinks about the American Civil War, which is part of his story. Don't ask why.
Yeah.
The story happens in like 1890 or something, so it's like only like 30 years after the Civil War ends. So I mean, it didn't end too long ago for him not to think about it. But yeah, he always fights in Afghanistan because of, I don't know if anybody knows this, but Britain fought in Afghanistan a lot of times.
All right.
Watson's a badass.
Yeah.
Like I don't know why some people don't seem to know that. He's like a total badass. He fucking kill people. He's also a doctor.
Yeah, that's why he's Dr. Watson.
He's also the inspiration, half the inspiration for House.
Why do you keep doing this thing every time you talk?
I'm not doing that. That's probably the microphone.
Oh, okay. I was just wondering.
I mean, if
Stop
anything, for the same reason you do the thing.
Yeah, I don't know why it's doing
strange quirks.
I was just wondering, because it was just, like, you don't normally do that when you talk, so I was wondering why.
I don't think. Yeah, I wasn't doing it. It was probably just some weird feedback from the microphone or something.
Okay, that makes sense. Because it was just, it felt weird and out of place. It sounded like a Valley Girl or some shit. Yeah.
Yeah, your microphone did that a bunch on one of the edits, and I had to edit it all out.
Oh, I see.
So I mean, like, it's not.
I mean, they are both the same
They haven't edited
microphone.
out before.
They're the same. They're essentially the same microphone. Just yours is a little bit older than mine.
Is it older? I think mine's newer than yours.
I don't know. I thought you had it before I had mine, but apparently I
Yeah, no, I've replaced mine.
Oh,
then.
Right.
Anyway, Sherlock sucks. Mortal Kombat sucks. Watch Scorpion's Revenge. It's a way better movie. Watch the Robert Downey Jr. Sherlock movies. They're way better.
Mm-hmm.
Don't gatekeep.
Yeah, don't gatekeep. That's fucking. It's so garbage when you gatekeep people.
Yeah.
Someone's interested in TTRPG, just try to make it as easy for them to slide into it as possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, gotta
if
put some
if
lubrication
someone likes
in
the
there.
One Piece anime, don't hate them for it. Just know that they are wrong. Well, also, One Piece anime does have some really good scenes, but overall, when you're like, what is it? What's the word I'm looking for? Translating like one chapter an episode, maybe, when you could be doing 3. Maybe you need to fix how you're scheduling your fucking anime. Just saying.
Okay. Is that where we're leaving off today?
I guess so.
Alrighty!
Zach! The moral wrap up.
Alright. So, Zach, tell them where they can find you.
Well, you can go find me on raziosomething.com. And at raziosomething on Twitter and Facebook. I don't think I do a review of anything that I've talked about today on those websites, but maybe I will. But I do review some other stuff. Go read Discworld. It's great.
Okay, is that it?
Yeah.
Alright, Juan, tell them where they can find you.
Watching them from a dark and dirty window.
Okay. Matt, tell them where
children.
Don't
Children aren't allowed to watch this. Okay? It's 18 plus. Throwing it out there.
Well,
before the FBI kicks down my door.
Okay. Matt, tell them where they can find you. Okay. And you can find me right here on twitch.tv/StupidNerdman or YouTube and look for the Stupid Nerdcast channel. And we will see you later. Bye-bye!